Mr. Gonzalez Munoz, you wanna kick us
Yeah.
off?
Yes, I'll kick us off. I definitely was very intentional about speaking to the teacher. I've been a board member for 6 years, going into my 7th year. Since being elected in this volunteer position, I have witnessed our district navigate both significant challenges, but also meaningful success. I've seen firsthand during my school visits the pride and passion our teachers bring to their work. I've also seen the dedication of our support staff, whether in the cafeteria, in the library, custodial services, on the bus, or in the classroom. Each one ready and willing to serve our students and our community. However, all that passion, dedication, and pride often seems to fade away during bargaining sessions. And there, in its place, like when it's anger, frustration, aggressive behavior, and disappointment, largely because expectations are not being met and demands are not being fulfilled. The public comments I read this week included stories about challenges many teachers are facing related to additional workload, uncertainty about their future at Reynolds School District, excessive number of caseload, illnesses related to their work environment, teacher breakdowns from stress and worriness. I read that and I hear that every single time. My question is, how is the union leadership supporting and standing by their members during this crisis? The ongoing rhetoric claims of hidden funds, flawed math, accusations that district leaders are not bargaining in good faith, and that board members are not questioning the budget. It is not only misleading, but also affecting the teacher's ability to focus and perform their work effectively. The district held a bargaining session via Zoom on September 18th at 5 p.m. to engage in further discussion with both OSEA and REA. Neither association attended. Why? Because they held a separate in-person session open to the public. I don't interrupt when we have public comments, so please, I deserve the same respect. Where did the partnership and collaboration efforts go when that happened? Two separate sessions, organized separately. From the beginning of this bargaining season, the associations have been fully aware that all furlough MOU bargaining sessions were going to take place in closed session without a public audience, but with a Zoom access provided for staff to watch and listen. So why are the associations not now attempting to break that agreement and that process without any coordination with the district? Our district budget no longer reflects the full financial reality due to three major key factors. Federal funding for many of our educational programs is no longer being accounted for. State funding has decreased compared to previous years. And student enrollment has declined, affecting the further impact of revenue. Why isn't the union speaking truthfully about the real reasons why we're in this situation? The decline of state and federal funding is a major factor behind budget challenges. Yet they continue to ignore it. This misleads staff and shift narrative away from the facts. Our district leaders have constantly bargained in good faith, and we will accept anything less from the association. It's time to set aside the distraction, the misinformation, the halting tactics. This process demands honesty, transparency, and mutual respect. I'm in agreement. I'm in full agreement with that. But it has to come from all the parties involved. And I'm gonna end with a quote, and this quote came from public comment I received via email. We have to hold the children of this district front and center when making these hard choices, unquote. This is from a mother and a staff from our district that has been here for 12 years.
Oh, I have my own thing to say as well. You know, we had a lot of students up here, you know, saying a lot of things. You know, I agree with a lot of it. Yeah, transparency is very important. You know, I'm also mad about furlough days, you know, affecting students' ability to, you know, get the education they need. So my question is union membership asking any questions of transparency of their leadership? Are they asking, you know, how did leadership come to the conclusion that district's lying? You know, because they're supposed to be out looking for you guys. They're supposed to be out there protecting your rights and making sure that you guys get the best benefits you are. You know, if I was union leadership, I wouldn't put ourselves in a situation where quality of service throughout the entire district is going to go down just because we can't come to an agreement, right? Students here, we're talking about furloughs affecting their education. I wonder how they would feel hearing student teacher leadership discussing about how to put as many of those furlough days on student-facing days as possible in order to protect paid holidays. I ask you guys, where is the leadership's plan? What do they hope to do? What do they hope to accomplish? All right, because what I'm seeing right here is actions that are bordering on suicidal. Yeah. Go ahead.
Not at the moment. I mean, eventually we'll. Yeah. Children. We have received worse comments towards us as well, coming from professional teachers who have been in our district for many years.
That's how seriously I'm taking this, people. All right, you can feel again your emotions as much as you want. This is how seriously I'm taking this.
Yeah, I guess I will speak. This is the way that I feel. I joined the bargaining for the district side late. Came in, we as the board looked at the budget that we were given. We asked over 100 questions of Holly. We had those, they were answered to our satisfaction. The membership showed up for the first budget meeting, packed the room. We're all mad at Salem, and we should still all be mad at Salem. The next week, it was back to the same 10 people here. No one came and spoke for public to be heard during the budget committee meetings. No one sent me an email besides Jeffrey to talk about the budget. So as far as I knew, everyone was cool with it. I can only receive the information that I get, and you can make faces and you can say what you want about me. That's fine. Also remember that I'm sitting in this chair because I used to lead you guys. And I'm sitting in this chair now because I'm trying to see it from this side. And I also, if you would go back and you would look at the budget thing, you would see that, I'm trying to look at the columns in my head. The first budget, there was a 25% carryover. The next year there was 14, and now it's 9. That is one thing I worked on. We spent the money. We're not sitting here with big pockets of money anymore. And this is my take, and you can take my take for whatever you want. I think the furlough day offer, 10 days was built into the budget. It was offered. There were triggers, 3 separate triggers. If you guys really believe that the numbers are so out of whack and that the audit will prove that you are right, I don't understand why the MOU didn't pass. Because that would be a perfect chance for you to pass the MOU, say, okay, we'll take it. We will bet that your numbers are wrong. Have the audit come back and say, oh God, those numbers are wrong. We get days back. You know what? If we could give you the days back, I know I would stand up and cheer. I think all of us would stand up and cheer and say, yes, more education for our students. We want that. This is not the same board that I was up against that wanted to ruin and consider teachers their enemies. That's who I face. And I'm telling you that for us here, that is not, we don't see you as the enemies. You may feel like we do, we don't. When I was leader, they literally did and said to our face, we think you guys are. But I think if you would have accepted or some combination, then if the numbers come in, then all of a sudden I will look and I will say, my God, what happened? And I know Holly would be saying, my God, what happened? But we would be happy. We would be happy to give you those days back. We are not trying to. And I guess the pain that comes from my side is that while the 10 furlough days will be hard, as a teacher, I took them. I know what it's like to see your paycheck go down. But to lose 30, 40 more teachers, they won't come back. They won't come back. To lose 30, 40 more classified people, they won't come back no matter what the audit says. If the audit, all of a sudden we are wrong and the audit comes back, you got 30 million and we're like, oh, we can't give days back. Oh, we're not going to hire people in January. I guess we're going to sit on 30 million. That was my thinking going into the budgeting. At this point, Holly has answered. Anytime I've asked a question of Holly, she has said, here's the answer. And maybe you disagree, and maybe you don't have that relationship with her. I can talk to you about my experience. And if I'm wrong, then in January, I will say, oh my God, I was duped. I'm wrong. Holly, why am I sitting here with egg all over my face saying that I trusted you? And Holly will tell me why. This is not someone who will sit there and say, oh, well, I don't know. And maybe that, as I say, that's my impression since I was called out. That's my answer. No, I won't say anymore. But they're on the social thing about maybe rent is so high in Gresham and that's why people can't afford to live here anymore. But that's a whole another issue.
Yeah.
You know, this is hard. Just one to listen to stories of teachers who are struggling. Teachers that I know that pour their heart and soul into teaching, who chose a career of giving and not receiving. You know, I hear stories from my own son who attends Wilkes Elementary about the teachers that he has, the librarians, educational assistants, and he loves them all. He's like, I love my teacher, and you know, he loves going to school, and you know, that brings me joy just knowing that there's a safe space for him to go to. At the same time, it is hard to make decisions that affect not just teachers, but staff in general as well. You know, bus drivers, custodians, aides, because at the end of the day, we are stewards of the money, and we need to make these hard decisions so that we can balance the books. It's not as easy as to just say, oh, like Joyce said, yeah, we would love to give you guys the 10 days and hire all the staff. The reality is that it's been coming for years. There's a teacher who mentioned that, you know, it was that they had more support during COVID, but that's because there was those ESSER funds. There was additional money that came during COVID that sadly has ended the year prior. So it's the budget itself has been just going down and down and down and, it's hard to see another solution other than what's being presented to the, previously in bargaining, so.
I'll close this out, just noting a few comments that were made during the public comments and by the bargaining unit. So there was a comment that stood out to me around no choice. And I think, who left us no choice? Who left us no choice but the current federal government that's actively trying to dismantle our public education? These fascists are tearing us apart. Yeah, I said it. These fascists running the federal government are trying to dismantle our public education. They have been for decades. This is the culmination of their work of Project 2025, and we're all falling prey to it. And if we don't work together and organize against them, they will tear us apart. So they left us no choice. The state left us no choice. When they did not give us enough funding, we were calling representatives, we were calling the governor, and all they said was, there's no money. There's no money because they're balancing the healthcare needs of Oregonians, the education needs, and everything else. We lobbied so hard to try to get more special education funding. Again, they just told us over and over again, there's no funding. We keep telling them their formulas are broken. We know the state school fund is a broken formula and they refuse to change it. Those are big policies that we have to push back on. So when we think of who left us no choice, it's the state, and it's definitely the federal government. Three of us here do have kids in the district. I have a sophomore and an incoming kindergartner next year. So for some of us, it's very personal. We're here because it's very personal work. And for some of us, even more personal, because we know that this will impact our kids. I do not want to see our block schedule undone. That will cause irreparable harm to our students, to my own kid, and to all the kids that benefit from this. So to me, that's one of those places where I draw the line. And for us, the 10 furlough days, that was always part of the budget when we designed it, because we knew we could fall back on it. We knew we could undo some of those furlough days should we be wrong about the projections. And believe me, we want to be wrong. I want to be $6 million wrong so we can undo and delete all of those furlough days, but we cannot undo layoffs. It's important that we have to get on, the same page. I don't want those furlough days to be student-facing days. We have to maintain our student days as much as possible. So again, I asked us to think about who left us no choice. And so we need to stay united. We are Reynolds, all of us here. There is no us and them. There's us here at Reynolds, and we have to stay united and remember who gave us no choice. Any other comments from board members? Well, thank you all for attending, and please, you know how to get a hold of us. You can always email us, and we do read and we do respond, and you can contact us. So thank you, and we'll adjourn tonight's meeting.